With 2016 just around the corner, I thought it'd be nice to go through all of the new games that I've played this year. All 6 of them. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't get around to playing that many new games this year with not having a current generation console or an upgraded PC. Still though, I have opinions about these games, and if you're watching this, chances are you want to know what I think of them. So, without further ado, these are the games that I have played this year. The first game is Hotline Miami 2, released March 10th. For those that didn't play the original, the game was a top-down action game where you played an assassin eliminating various Russian gangsters in the year 1989. The gameplay was fast and frenetic, but also rewarded patience. The visuals also added to the game, and combined with a rockin' synth soundtrack, made for a really intense, ultra-violent, and yet soothing game. Trust me, you have to have played it to know what I'm talking about. The sequel pretty much takes place where the original left off, but instead of focusing on one character, you got to play as several characters in various time periods. Gameplay is still the same, but because of the different characters, the gameplay would change slightly. The new soundtrack is also a fantastic addition. In fact, I'd say the soundtrack to this game surpasses the original, and it's worth the price of admission alone. So, what did I think of the game? At first I didn't enjoy it, because the difficulty was increased, and that threw me off. The enemies in this one react faster than they did in the last game. Also, you have to use the look button more than you did in the first Hotline Miami, to the point where it became a vital part of the gameplay. But I gave it another chance and found it to be pretty fun. In fact, I got so into it that when I was done, I actually didn't want it to be over. Hotline Miami 2 also comes with a level editor, and if the success of Super Mario Maker is any indication, then that means there's a lot of Hotline Miami fans that want to make their own levels and even their own stories. So, yeah, I liked Hotline Miami 2. Next game is Not a Hero, released in May 14th. Not a Hero is a side-scrolling shooter with cover mechanics and regenerating health. Nah, before you swear this game off after hearing that, hear me out, alright? It's not that bad. The game gives you a variety of characters, each one with a unique weapon and characteristics. The game actually plays more like a score attack game like Vanquish or The Club. In fact, this is pretty much like a 2D version of The Club, complete with a 4-metal-esque ranking system and silly British voices.
What about my functioning alcoholic? Stanley! I'm an easy lover. Timmy!
Hey, Bob, what are you saying?
As for the story, it's about a big, purple anthropomorphic rabbit from the future trying to become the Mayor of England. And his method of winning the election? Hire assassins to clean up the gangs and mobsters of England. Duh! I loved playing Not a Hero, and if you love attack score style games or games with a good aesthetic, then this is highly recommended. In fact, one could say, it's the dog's bollocks. I'm never doing a British voice again. Okay, let's talk about another shooter, but this time one that isn't as in your face as those last 2 games. Splatoon was released 11 days after Not a Hero, meaning May the 25th. Well, for North America and Europe that is. Australia got it 1 day after that, and Japan got it 2 days before. Splatoon is a third-person shooter from Nintendo, but instead of being about shooting one another, Splatoon has a rather unique spin on the shooting genre. Splatoon is all about inking. In multiplayer, your team wins by covering more ink on the map than the opposing team. The game also has a single-player campaign, where you traverse levels similar to those found in Super Mario Galaxy, and fight off octopus-like beings. This one is a lot of fun, and the game is constantly being updated as well, and there's even the Splatfest, which I've never been to one. In fact, I actually haven't been playing this one as much as I should be. But yeah, you should check this one out if you have a Wii U. Next one is Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and this one was originally supposed to be released on October 31st, but was bumped to August 8th, and eventually released even earlier on July 23rd. Weird, huh? Five Nights at Freddy's is a first-person survival horror series, where you try to keep out killer anthropomorphic robot mascots. And I just realized how silly that sounded when reading it out loud. But don't let that fool you, the game series is still pretty scary. The first 2 games had you playing as a security guard trying to look after a pizza place, similar to that of a Chuck E. Cheese. Now the third game had you looking after a haunted house attraction, inspired by the events of the first 2 games. These 3 games involved you looking out for not only the robots, but also having to manage various things, such as security cameras and power. Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is the last game in the main series, and has you playing a kid trying to keep out the nightmarish versions of the robots you encountered throughout the entire series. I wasn't able to play it all the way through though, because it was too spooky for me. In all seriousness though, it's because my potato of a laptop wasn't able to properly run the game. I did watch a Let's Play of it though, and it's a shame that I wasn't able to experience it the way it was meant to be. Oh well, at least there's FNAF World to look forward to.
What the?
Relic Hunter Zero was another game I got to play this year, and one you could play too, because it's free. This one was released in August 15th, and it's a cutesy top-down shooter. It's very similar to Halo, because you only have access to 2 weapons at any given time. There's an overshield, and you also have grenades that you can throw. There's also an element of modern shooters in there as well, because you have to zoom in with your weapon if you want to fire more accurately. You have a choice of picking one of 6 characters when you begin the game, each one having unique stats and weapon preferences. It's also open source, so if you wanted to create something, you have that option. This one was a lot of fun, and it was pretty cool to see a top-down shooter play more like a modern-day FPS. Check it out if you want a quick burst of fun. And last but certainly not least,
Broforce!
Broforce originally started out as a game for an Indie Game Jam, released in April 2012. But because people loved the game so much, the developers decided to continue adding on to the game. The game was released officially in October of this year, and guys, I've been having so much fun with this one that it's the reason why this video wasn't released earlier. Yes, I'm that hooked on the game. Broforce is a side-scrolling shooter where you introduce terrorists, aliens, and demons to hot heaping doses of freedom. There's prison bros that you must rescue along the way, and if you rescue enough bros, you unlock one new bro. And the best part? The bros are basically heroes from action films from the 1980s, 90s, and even a few from other decades. The game has RoboCop, Neo, Blade, Rambo, McClane, the Terminator, the 3rd Street Saints. Oh, there's so many of them. They even put the Rocketeer in the game. The Rocketeer, guys! Does anyone but me remember that guy? Come on, dude with a jetpack, bronze helmet. No? No one? Come on. What else can I say? It's the most fun I've had with any computer game all year. Seriously, check it out. It's amazing. And if you can't afford it, then at least check out their free-to-play add-on, Expendabros. Well, that's all of the games that came out this year that I've played. 2015 was a good year for video games in my opinion, and here's to hoping that 2016 will be even better. That's it for this year, but there's still more Slipgate to look forward to, so stay tuned, because there will be more where this came from.
Blackstain! Bison! Bryson! Front row tickets to the band show, baby!